Yeah, we'll get to that Tennessee, Kentucky in just a moment, Shane. But I think we got to start with the shocker of the weekend, and not only in the SEC, but probably in all of college football, Shane, because an
Hmm.
18.5 point favorite, Florida Gators, go in to Columbia to face a South Carolina team, Shane, that, hey, I said it and I meant it on the last episode. I mean, Texas A&M made this look like an FCS team. They
Hmm.
beat Vanderbilt by 1 point. They struggled against East Carolina. There's been so many downs for South Carolina and Shane Beamer
Hmm.
this season. Fans want the offensive coordinator and the offensive line coach fired, and then give them 2 weeks to prepare. Shane, they've circled the wagons, and South Carolina just whooped Florida 40-17, and all of a sudden, all these people in Dan Mullen's corner. I mean, there was already a lot of people jumping off, but we have measured, level-headed folks saying, how does Dan Mullen come back from this one? You know, I said this is going to be the biggest month of his coaching career, and he's already failed it one game in, being not competitive against the South Carolina Gamecocks. Man,
Hmm.
where do you go from here if you're the Florida Gators, Shane?
Buddy, hey, for starters, you're probably like, whoa, where did all that quality come from? Shane got so excited I forgot to turn my mic on, Mike. So we're about we're about 30 seconds into good quality. So just FYI, you may want to back up, record a little bit here. But anyway, yeah. So this is going about as smooth as Florida's offense right now, and they're struggling, man. We're on a 3-game losing streak, and the fact it's like, just when you feel like you've kind of hit the bottom, you hit the bottom. And I'm not trying to take anything away from South Carolina, but this is a team a few weeks ago that was struggling against Vanderbilt, Mike. And now you've got the Florida Gators not just getting beat, but getting beat down by the Gamecocks. I mean, this, where do you go from here? They're the joke of the internet right now. They're the memes. It's almost, you almost want to turn it off because you about heard it all. You've got even national media, Barstool guys just constantly bringing up non-recruiting down there at Florida, and this is why they're in this predicament. So I don't know, man. What do you do? Do you fire the coach? Do you fire a coach that I think made your program better the last couple of years? And had they ran a wheel off? Absolutely. But I don't know. What do you do? What do you do from here?
Yeah, it's just wild, Shane, how quickly things can change. I mean, a year ago, Florida Gators deep in the conversation, legitimately to go to the college football playoff. I think they were number 5 in the country. Then you lose to LSU. It's been a backslide ever since. And I think the most damning thing, Shane, and, you know, listeners of this show are well aware, I'm not the guy that thinks, you know, we should just fire everybody. Hell, we did a segment about a
Yeah.
month ago. Let's keep Coach O. Let's keep Dan Bullock. Let's keep Jimbo. I mean, that, you know, you cannot overreact to a bad loss. Yet, if you're the Florida Gators, I mean, the strength of Dan Mullen in his X's and O's, his game planning, his game calling, his quarterback coaching, and all that has taken a major, major slide this season. You lose to Kentucky. You got outcoached against Kentucky. Here against South Carolina, the biggest issue to me, Shane, no identity on offense. And that's
Yeah.
what Dan Mullen, Florida, is supposed to be. They came out, Shane. This is the SEC's number 1 rushing attack in yards per carry. They came out 10 consecutive passes with Emory Jones, who, to his credit, he was completing some deep balls. He was keeping them in the game. So it's not even on Emory Jones, but I'm just trying to figure out what the hell's the game plan when South Carolina has been struggling defensive, well, just more overall as a program. They're starting a third-string quarterback that came from St. Francis. Let's give him a shout-out. Jason Brown, he was outstanding, 175 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, he got it done. He stepped up. But
Yeah.
on the flip side, I mean, Florida cannot stop the run to save their lives. 284 yards rushing for the South Carolina Gamecocks, only 82 for Florida. So over a 200-yard discrepancy there. And it was just big play after big play here, Shane. I mean, they were just getting gashed, this Florida defense. And Todd Grantham haters, man, they certainly have themselves, you know, they've been justified here. 7 rushes of over 10 yards for South Carolina. 5 passes of over 15 yards for, again, an offensive coordinator, an offensive line coach that most South Carolina fans are ready to kick to the curb. They made them look like 2019 LSU, 2020 Alabama out here. You know what?
Absolutely, man. Of course, I tried to stay positive going into this game for South Carolina. I just wanted to let them know, hey, man, you got a bright future ahead of you. It may not be now, but it's coming. And you're looking at a Florida team that was struggling. You got a Clemson team coming up that's struggling. Mm-hmm. You're one game away from a bowl.
Right.
And the teams going into the games that we were worried about, those 50-50 games that they lost, thinking this was going to keep them out of a bowl game, they're right back in the mix. Hell, Florida's struggling. They're the ones that's trying to make a bowl game now. So I want to tell you, man, as much as we want to make this story about Florida, I do want to, you got to mention just you want to talk about identity? It felt like we found a little bit of that this week here in Columbia. This Brown kid, I don't know much about him. You know what I'm saying? To get on here and act like I know the complete background. All I know is that when it came crunch time, he made completions. Mm-hmm. He made this team two-dimensional, and when you did that, that opened up the running game for hell. Look, I haven't seen Kevin Harris since 2019. It feels like, So
right.
He came out there. This team had some offense, had some life, and once they got going, even though that place wasn't sold out, that place was freaking rocking, Mike, and that's what South Carolina needs.
Yeah, South Carolina averaged 8.8 yards on first down, Shane. So that really helped. Mm-hmm. That's what you need when you got a young quarterback. You're winning first down convincingly. And like you said, Kevin Harris, 8 yards a carry. Zaquandre White, 8.5 yards per carry. Marshawn Lloyd, 6.5 yards per carry. That's a quarterback's best friend, Shane, when you're just grounding and pounding like that, slashing the opposing defense. And like you said, South Carolina now a game away from making a bowl game. When many fans were done with the season just 2 weeks ago, now you're playing in Missouri. You got that looks like a toss-up game to me. You got Auburn coming to town. There's obviously bad blood there. Auburn just lost a game. We'll get to that. And then, like you said, Clemson, hell, they can barely win in the worst ACC I've ever seen in my life. So there's a lot of hope for the Gamecocks right now. But, to circle back to your question, man, I don't know if Dan Mullen's going to make it, man, because,
is he going to get fired this week? Do you think that's going to happen?
Well, if it's going to happen, I think the sooner the better, Shane, because we're 5 weeks away from signing time, the early signing period. There's jobs open across you're going to have to be competing, though. That's an issue. You're going to be competing with LSU. You're going to be competing with Southern Cal for head coaching positions. This is not an ideal time. They just gave Dan Mullen an extension. So there's a lot of reasons to keep him, but it just seems like the fan base is out on him. It seems like his answers in the postgame comments week in and week out are worse and worse. And I just don't see how it goes well for me. It's almost like I feel like Urban Meyer's going to hire him to be his offensive coordinator in the Jacksonville Jaguars next year. I don't even know if Dan Mullen can land a job at this point.
No, I don't either, Mike. It feels like he's reeling. But, one thing that sucks is we've always known Dan is terrible at the mic. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, even when he came in, the quirky comments, we picked it all apart. We've made it the intro several times. Dan's just not good with reporters, and I feel like, when you're winning, it doesn't matter. It's fun. It's cute. It's whatever, But if you're losing, then it's dissected and analyzed, and he doesn't care about this team and everything. I do not think that Dan went into this game without some sort of game plan. However, the flow of the game clearly dictated how this thing ended, and I'm sure what surprised me was there was the lack of halftime adjustments we've seen from Dan in games past. So part of me does question the coaching. Up to this point, I said, okay, I made this happen because that happened. And, but this game right here, it just felt like what you said. They came out almost as if, hey, as long as we show up to South Carolina, we'll win this thing. That's almost what it felt like. And they were punched in the mouth over and over again.
Mm-hmm. And last thing I got, Shane, I think the most damning thing here, if you're looking at the standings, you're a Florida Gator fan, you see South Carolina's now ahead of you in the SEC East, and perhaps more importantly, the Gamecocks are ahead of you in the recruiting rankings, and we all know that is a sore subject down there in Gainesville, but that is just not acceptable unless South Carolina's got them Steve Spurrier down there. You know what I mean? So,
absolutely.
yeah, I think the change is coming.
Absolutely. And we're recording this at 5:53, so if he gets fired here in a little bit, just know what time it is here on Sunday.
Shane, at least from up here, it looked like this was your offensive line's best game by a pretty good margin. What do you credit that to? And did you expect them to be able to come out and just be able to dominate the way they kind of did?
Yes. I mean, I know you guys think I'm crazy when I tell you that I see how we practice, and then sometimes it's frustrating the way we've played, and we haven't played good enough. But, every single person, we made a individual commitment to win your one-on-one battles, be physical, and then just compete. And that's what we've just talked about for 2 weeks, and what we talked about in the team meeting at the hotel last night, what we talked about in the team meeting at the hotel before we came to the stadium, and what we talked about in the locker room right before we took the field, is that there's just a bunch of one-on-one individual battles all over the field, every single play with the 22 guys out there, and that we needed to compete our butts off better than we have been and win those. And credit, Coach Satterfield and Coach Atkins and the rest of our offensive staff for putting together a great plan, and giving them, putting together a scheme that gives our guys a chance to be successful, and they did, and they played physical, and it was fun to watch them from that standpoint.
You said tonight was about South Carolina. Can you just kind of expound a little bit more upon that, what you meant by that, and what do you think the message and or statement was that this team made this evening?
It's a team that continues to get better and better, and loves each other, cares for one another. We talked about it before the game that we needed to be the closest, most connected team on the field tonight, and I think we were. It's a testament to them for how they just continue to work and just get better and put your head down and just go and not worry about what's being said on the outside. Just the people that in our building are what matter, and just continue to get better. We knew we had a good football team. I know we didn't look like it when we played out in Texas A&M 2 weeks ago, and it wasn't always pretty against Vandy. But that was one thing Coach Spurrier did tell me, Dick, on Thursday night, was you guys are 4-4 and you've won a lot of close games, which is not easy to do in your first year, which I appreciate him saying that. And we have. Winning's hard. And I know everybody expects us to just, the teams that you're supposed to beat them by a certain margin and all that. They got good players too. And winning is hard. So I think tonight was a great testament for our kids and how much they love each other and how much they love playing for each other and this staff. And when I say it was for South Carolina, it's a great night, for Gamecock Nation and for the Carolina fans across the state. There haven't been a lot of great moments like this over the last couple years. And just like our players were, I want them to have success. I want these fans that are so passionate for us to be able to celebrate and have nights like this as well. So just really happy for them, really happy for our players, and hopefully we got a lot more of these games coming like this as well.
Shane,
hold on, Gene, and we will if a lot of those recruits that were in that stadium tonight and the ones that are texting me on my phone, if they decide to come to Carolina, we'll have some even more fantastic nights than this. Sorry, Gene, go ahead.
Yeah, Dan, with so much to play for, to get back on track, and you said the team was spirited this week at practice. How do you explain the performance?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I know, I know everybody's disappointed. I thought our guys had a great attitude this week and worked, and the desire of our guys, the attitude that they bring. We gotta create some positive momentum for the guys on the team. And, for those guys and we as coaches got to improve and help them get better.
Do you feel like the players got knocked on their heels and just kind of, I don't want to say gave up, but do you feel like the energy deflated?
No, I certainly don't think we gave up. I think, I give our guys credit. They battled. They faced a lot of adversity. Faced a lot of adversity and then continued to battle. And we faced all kinds of adversities this week, and we those guys continued to battle.
Dan, are you stunned by the outcome, or given what you guys went through all week, did you kind of see this coming?
Well,
It could go this way?
No, I didn't see it coming. I'm obviously really disappointed. You give them credit; their guys played really well, made plays that were there to be made. I mean, I don't know. I've coached a long time, so I don't know that stuff is stunning. It really ever to me, but obviously didn't see. Wasn't seeing the game play out this way, so very disappointed. I know our players are very disappointed.
Did you foresee the struggles that you guys have had over these last 3 weeks at the midpoint of the season?
Well, no, I don't. I mean, there's been a bunch throughout the year, so I mean, you don't foresee anything. You don't foresee all the turnovers we've had, and some of those issues, and you don't like some inconsistencies in which we've performed with. You don't really foresee that stuff.